Boa noite. Se vocês precisam de tradução, mais uma vez, temos tradutores aqui hoje. A tradutora que fala português está desse lado e a tradutora que habla espanhol está deste lado. Okay? Gracias. Welcome, class of 2039. Think about that date. What an amazing date to think about. Thank you for joining us in person or virtually. I am Micaeli Neves, and I oversee the Department of Student Registration. Before we get into the nuts and bolts of the evening, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the energy in this room. I know exactly what you're feeling right now. Some of you are holding back tears at the thought of your babies going to school, and others have already calculated the exact number of days until September so you can finally drink that coffee while it's still hot. Don't worry, this is a completely judgment-free zone. We get it. In all seriousness, sending your child to kindergarten is a huge milestone. It is completely normal to feel a mix of excitement, anxiety, and about 1,000 different questions. I want to assure you right off the bat, my team and I are here to help you every step of the way. One of the best kept secrets about our department is that we aren't just administrators and staff members, we are all parents. We have sat at the same exact chairs that you're sitting in right now. We have stressed over the same paperwork. And if our kids were gonna make friends and actively pray that they would figure out how to open their juice boxes. We've been through the process, we survived it, and we're here to make sure you do so too. Our goal tonight and throughout the coming months is to help you. So please take a deep breath. Ask the questions you need to ask, and know that you and your children are in very good hands. With that being said, let's dive into our agenda for this evening and what the next few months will look like. So tonight we'll hear welcomes by our superintendent, Dr. Robert Tremblay, welcomes by Rich Robles, school committee clerk, presentations for transition to kindergarten by Christina Shea, a brief overview of special education services by Lori Bruce, registration, control school choice, and school assignments overview by myself, and closing remarks. With that said, please welcome me in, oh. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Robert Tremblay.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Micaeli, and to the Welcome Center and registration team. Great thanks to everyone for putting this together as they do every year. It's really very well organized, and not just by the beautiful sweaters you see everybody wearing. It looks like you've walked into to Lufthansa when they're welcoming you here. So thank you so much for the work that you do. My name is Bob Tremblay. I'm your superintendent of schools, and it's a pleasure to welcome you here this evening. I'm going to just say a couple of welcoming remarks and give a little bit of insight to what might be on some people's minds around a school building project, particularly impacting Hemingway. This may or may not be even on your mind, but I think it's important to sort of set the stage as to where we are, which is different than where we were in in case you were here with younger children in previous years, where we are in the process now. So the Massachusetts School Building Authority, who's the MSBA, we partner with the Massachusetts School Building Authority, with the MSBA, and we've been invited into what's called their eligibility period. So of all the schools that we have in Framingham, Hemingway, the current Hemingway Elementary School, is among the oldest and the one that's in need of something to be done. So the school is safe, it's watertight, it's all the things, there's no health risks. I don't want to create any concern there. But we do want to renew our schools over time. And so Hemingway is the next school for something to happen to it. And the reason I say that is because there's a process called feasibility that we look at what the options are. And the options might be that we build a new school on the current Hemingway site. We keep the current Hemingway school as it is with an addition and renovation, or we build a new school altogether to replace that school with someplace else, not necessarily on that school site. That's the study that's underway right now. No decisions have been made. You may have been following in recent years that the city council, the mayor, have purchased the Bethany property on the south side of Framingham. And when you look at where our students live relative to where our schools are, you'll realize that, and this may impact many of you as you choose schools for your own children, that you need to bus across the city. So we are really short on schools on the south side, and we are really in need of more schools where our students are, which would mean perhaps less on the north side. That has not been determined yet, just to be clear. So I just want to explain, in the community, you may be hearing things about schools that often are the same thing but might sound confusing. You might hear the Hemingway Project, the South Side School, the new building project. All of those things are one in the same. The school that's being studied is Hemingway. One of the proposed possible locations for that school, in addition to on its current site, would be a South Side site. And the site that's been purchased is Bethany. So I want to just give some context as to how you may hear those conversations. So tonight, if you're thinking, how can I be sure to pick the right school where I will have the least amount of disruption for my child, I'm not going to be able to give you an answer on that tonight, because there are a lot of decisions that have to be made before we're even there. First of those is, does the city even want to build a new school? I mean, that's our hope, so we don't have to have students being bused all across the city, but there's an expense to that, and we have to look at all the alternatives. And when that does happen, if a new school were to be approved, the doors would open likely in the 2030-31 school year. So for those of you enrolling in kindergarten, class of 2039, that would be your child's fourth grade year. And what we don't know, right, is if Hemingway goes away. And I also want to sort of frame the concept that was mistaken in some years back. If you think of, well, if it's a new Hemingway school and it's on Water Street and now they move it to Bethany, how am I going to get my child there? That wouldn't happen that way, right? We would have 9 schools, and you wouldn't necessarily be going to the same Hemingway on the south side, right? You would have one less school on the north side under that model. But we're not quite sure. And the goal is, though, to have your child, have your family attend school at the nearest possible school to where you live. That would avoid us having to bus across the city. That is the goal. Right now, you have the school choice model that will be explained to you in more detail this evening, and you'll pick your first through your, presumably your 9th choice of schools, some of which offer our dual language programming. But I wanted to just give some context and not necessarily answers around the Hemingway project. There will be many, many more meetings that will happen, so that won't happen tonight, but there'll be many community meetings, opportunities to learn more about that project. We've just onboarded a design team, an architect, as well as our project management team. So we finally have a full school building committee with those representation on it. So there'll be plenty of time to learn about the project, learn about the process, learn about the impacts, and better understand what all this means. So tonight, try not to overwhelm yourself with that filter, because as you think about schools, it could really add a complication to your forward planning, which may be for no reason, right? We don't know, it can't predict the future. So I wanted to provide that context. I'm sure there was still questions and things about that, and I'm happy to follow up with you at a later time, but I wanted to set the stage for that this evening. Please don't be overwhelmed by all the amazing things that you'll hear tonight. It's a lot. Just by show of hands, how many of you are first-time parents of children coming into the schools? Okay, that means we reached the right audience. Welcome. As my colleague McKaylee mentioned, many of us have been at this before with children of our own, and we can understand it's a lot to know and it can be complicated. We are here to help you, and we're really excited to have your child start the class of 2039. I can't even believe the future is here. And so it's very exciting to have you all here tonight. I remain available to all of you anytime. Reach out, any questions you might have. I'd be happy to have a personal conversation or an email. And with that said, I'm going to introduce Rich Robles. Rich Robles is the clerk of the Framingham School Committee and is a great partner in education with us. And if you'd please be so kind to help me welcoming Rich Robles to the stage. Thank you.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm going to make protocol and do this. Hi, everybody. Good evening. My name is Rich Robles, and as Dr. Tremblay said, I am part of our school committee. I represent District 1. Our school committee has 9 members because we have 9 districts in Framingham, and each one of us was elected by you or some of you to be in one of those seats. So we, the school committee, we work for you. So at any point, if you have questions, you have suggestions, something's bothering you, you are welcome to contact us anytime. Email us, call us, Framingham Public Schools website, you can find our info there. Besides that, I also wanted to tell you a little bit more about, okay, what is this experience? And because, you know, as I was thinking about tonight, I thought, man, I remember being in your seat a long, long time ago. So my wife and I moved here to Framingham 4 years ago. We have 4 daughters. Our oldest was a senior in high school when we moved. Now she is a senior in college. Our second one is in college. We have one in high school, and our youngest is in middle school. When we moved here, our youngest was in 3rd grade. And it was not, you know, it was fresh in our minds what we went through dropping all of them off to kindergarten. So here are a few things that I want to give you as advice of things that we saw in our own family. So number 1, tonight, as Dr. Tremblay said, you're going to start taking notes. Some of you are going to start thinking about the backpack. The backpack is a big deal, and your kids will tell you this. So you're gonna start making a list, you're gonna fill that backpack, and the first day when you see them walking into school with that huge backpack in their bags, you're gonna freak out a little because the backpacks are bigger than they are, and that's okay to have that. Number 2 is, I think Michaela referred to this, there's going to be a lot of crying that turns into sobbing for that first day when you drop them off. And your kids might cry too. So make sure that you run to your car and cry by yourself before you start a chain reaction of kids crying. But that's okay. I remember feeling those emotions, and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Here's our kids. But I'm gonna tell you something. We chose Framingham. We have different districts to choose from. I get to work in Boston, so we had almost half the state to choose from. We chose Framingham because there's amazing programs here. We wanted a bilingual program for our daughters, and that's why we came here. It's amazing. And the team that comes around our kids, unbelievable. Wait until you experience it. And we have some amazing educators, specialists, administrators who take care of our kids. And so lastly, I'll tell you about the first day as well, what to expect. The first day is like a fashion show. Everybody comes in wearing their brand new clothes. Kids are very excited. You're excited because you've invested in that. But don't be surprised if the second week they come to school with unmatched socks, wearing a Cinderella dress, a Thor helmet. That is okay. Kids are going to wear what they're going to wear. And just, you know, rest assured that we are going to take care of them. And as a school committee, we continue to make decisions that make all of us, you know, a better school environment, a better culture. And I am invested because we still have 2 kids there. So thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing us to be part of your journey with, you know, your educational journey with your kids. And just know again that you can reach out to us anytime. And for those of you who are, you know, lots of hands that went up for the first time, look around. I'm serious. Look around because the people that you have here tonight with you, this is your team. You know, most of the friends that we have are best friends. I would say most of the friends that we know are parents of our kids, and they are really the team that we rely on. You're gonna have birthday parties together, you're gonna get together, you're gonna run into each other at the grocery store, and it starts here right now. So get to know the people around you because this is your team, the people you're gonna be relying on. So thank you, enjoy the rest of the evening. Wait, I totally forgot I'm supposed to introduce you. So, I want to introduce you to a very, very special person, Christina Shea. She is the amazing visionary, the doer, the person who oversees our program, and you're going to be in contact with her a lot. So I am so pleased to welcome you, Christina. So let's give her a warm welcome.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. As Rich said, I'm Christina Shea. I'm the Director of Early Education. So I like to think I have the best job in the district because I get to work with our youngest learners from pre-K to K. So welcome. It's just a pleasure to be here and see all of you and begin your journey together. So I just have a few housekeeping pieces. First, I do see a lot of familiar faces out there, so that's super exciting. So part of my work is the pre-K expansion. And we do still currently have seats for this school year as well. So if you happen to have a child who is not enrolled in a program now, when you come out at the end to meet my colleagues and look at the departments, we do have some open seats. So part of that work is the pre-K expansion is really to make sure that we close the opportunity gap and offer pre-K before kindergarten. So on a side note, if you currently are not enrolled, please come out and see myself and my colleague Elisa, and we can tell you more. So that's exciting. And then if you can change the slide, McKaylee. Could you change the slide for me? I'm just going to talk a little bit about the transition to kindergarten. You'll hear a lot from McKaylee as well. But one important part is the transition meetings at the beginning of each school year. So what will happen is the first 3 days of the school year, your child won't start yet, and you'll have the opportunity to come and meet your classroom teacher, the support staff, and really see the school. And we feel like the screening part is a technical piece. Any student who's not already identified with special education will come in for a screening. I'm probably talking too fast, sorry. I will slow down. So that's the first piece. So everybody comes in and we welcome you to your school. It's really a great time to be one-on-one with the teacher. The support staff answers questions like, what day does my child have gym? Will they need to wear sneakers? What are the specials? How about the bus? Nursing? So it's really a wonderful time. So you'll hear from me in late spring. It'll come from my office with some information on what screening looks like. We also have bus transportation, so if for some reason there's a family who doesn't have access to their own transportation, we'll set up a time so that you and your child can come during those 3 days at the beginning of the school year. So that's just a really important piece that we've built up that really helps with that community as we welcome you in. So really happy about that. And then, really, I'm here to introduce some adorable kindergarten students and their teachers who are going to share what it's like to be a kindergartner. So, without further ado, let's start the video.
So one of the projects I've done with parents on the first day of school is based on the book called The Kissing Hand by Audrey Penn. And in this book, the little raccoon is going off to his first day of school, and he's very worried and sad and nervous and goes through all those feelings our kindergartners feel. And I had the parents trace their hand on a piece of paper, and we put it up on our kissing hand wall so that whenever the students feel that they're missing home, they can go up and find their mom or dad's hand and remind themselves that they're just a few hours away from seeing them again. So some things that parents can do to prepare their children for kindergarten is to really focus on the self-care skills. It may not seem like that big of a deal, but when you're a teacher in a class of over 20 kids, having students who can zip up their own coats, put on their own gloves, unzip and zip back up their lunch boxes, making sure that kids can blow their own nose, sneeze into their elbow, helps to not spread the germs that are sometimes very prevalent in the kindergarten classrooms.
Read, learn, and do math equations. No, and you have to do writing. You have to do writing and my tooth is lost.
Another thing we encourage in kindergarten is to make sure that children are helping each other. It's another way for them to build friendships and to show that they can solve problems together as a community without an adult always there.
That's a good question. How did you make all new friends?
He said hi. I just said hi and then said, what's your name? How I made friends is going from home to all kinds of places. My eyes are looking straight ahead. I'm ready for the call.
learning how to handle the routines of the classroom. They're learning how to access the materials on their own. But all the while, they're also building their identities as students and as learners, as writers, readers, mathematicians.
You can be nervous at the beginning of the year, but you don't have to be nervous at like in the middle or at the end of the year.
When do you get to go out on the playground?
After we eat your cheeseburger.
So sometimes the biggest concern we hear is that parents are worried that if their child will fit in, if they're going to be well liked, how they're going to make friends. And we do a lot of things purposefully in kindergarten to cultivate that, because those skills aren't just natural for children. One of the things is to be able to celebrate the uniqueness that each child brings, and all of their unique qualities inside and out. And we do a lot of things through self-portraits. We share stories about our families and about our likes and dislikes, and we make connections.
I like about kindergarten because we get to meet new friends. First you do arrival, and then you do morning meeting, and then word study, and then you do and then you go to the bathroom, and then you do readers workshop, and then read aloud, then math workshop, and then lunch, then you go to recess, and then you go to the bathroom again, and then you do PE, and then you do snack and mindfulness, and then you have choice time, and then you go back home.
Another concern that many caregivers have about children going to kindergarten for the first time is how they're going to get to kindergarten and safely get back from kindergarten. And so children who ride the bus, all the schools actually have very explicit lessons on how students enter the bus, line up for the bus, wait for the bus, where they sit on the bus. Oftentimes the bus drivers will have kindergarten students sit in the front of the bus, so it's less overwhelming. And within a couple of weeks, the kids have those routines down pat.
Don't worry, school will be fun. I like school. I love school. Your name goes from A to Z, but what goes from Z to A? Zebra.
Oh, that's good.
Well, that's it. I'm clear red. I love that they tell you every part of the day. So that's the expert speaking. Just a few other points. This month we start to welcome you to visit all the 9 elementary schools. I try to be there. You'll see other members of colleagues being there, ask questions. Go in and just see which school feels right for you. It's just an important decision. All of our schools are wonderful. The curriculum is the same across all 9 elementary schools, so I encourage you to go and visit and ask questions. Then we'll have kindergarten orientation, where your child will come in and meet a variety of teachers. You'll have another opportunity for the principals to lead that work. And then as you'll get your kindergarten placement, classroom placement in mid-August, and along with that will be that kindergarten screening opportunity that I referenced, where you will have just that one-on-one opportunity to visit the new school that you'll be entering. So welcome to kindergarten, and thank you all. We look forward to working together.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Shea. Thank you, Mr. Rich Robles and Dr. Tremblay, for joining us tonight. I apologize in advance for reading my notes, but I get very excited, so I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. So I'm going to be following what I wrote so I don't mess up anything, okay? Froze on me. Kyle, are you able to switch the slide for me? It's frozen. Thank you. Okay. So in an effort to answer as many questions as you may have, I want to highlight the kindergarten webpage, which can be found in Framingham Public Schools Department of Student Registration website. And that has been shared with you in previous communications. We hope that you use the webpage as a resource as you go through the registration and assignment process. Before I go on, I want to point out a few important points in the kindergarten webpage. On the webpage, you'll find the list of documents that you need to register your child, explanation of how kindergarten assignments are made, information about dual language Portuguese and Spanish programs, information about transportation policy and procedures, the calendar and sign-up link of school tours, list of important deadlines, the school hours, the elementary school profiles, and the list of before and after school programs. One of the best ways to learn about our elementary schools is to take advantage of the school tours. You do not need to wait for your registration appointment to schedule your tours. We encourage you to schedule your tours online by going to the Department of Student Registration website. Tours are intended for adults only. At this moment, you will hear a few words of the Director of the Special Education Department. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Lori Bruce.
Thank you, McKaylee. Hi, everyone. So I'm Lori Bruce, the Director of Special Education, and I just have three slides to talk about. So the first thing I just want to say is that special education is not about labels. Special education is about support. And that support can look very, very different for each child that needs it. It can be something very, very simple about they just can't nail down certain sounds, some articulation issues, or just can't hold that pencil right and really trouble forming their letters. Or it can be incredibly challenging for some families because their students have very medically complex issues that need to be addressed. The good news is that we have a whole amazing team to help all children who need it. And that team can consist of speech and language pathologists who help with articulation and language. It can be our occupational therapists that help with fine motor tasks and regulation. It can be a physical therapist that might teach a child how to walk up and down a set of stairs or how to use their walker more efficiently. It can be a special educator that helps a student learn to read, or if the student's really falling behind in an academic area, helping to get them closer to grade level, or modify their curriculum. It can be a vision specialist that even tells us where to put certain colored tape so people can see where they're going. So it's complex. There's a lot of people that are involved. I'm also very lucky to have an assistant director, Krista Brother. And what's most important is that all of these people work together to help all children who need additional help. Next slide, please. So it is important to understand most students that have an IEP. What's an IEP? It's just an individualized educational plan. It is a plan that's put together with a team of professionals from your child's school and yourself, you're part of the team, putting together a plan of how we're going to best meet your students' needs so they can make progress at school, okay? And that can happen in 3 different settings, I guess is the word I'll use. In most cases, students are with their general education peers. In the general education classroom, I call it it's a neurodiverse group of learners, right? And your child is in that classroom, and they have those people that come in to support them and maybe even pull them out a bit for some specialized support to meet their unique needs. That's what is going to be in place for most students. Some students are what we call partially included. Perhaps they come out of their general ed classroom to another setting for academics, but they go and have specials with their grade level peers. Sometimes they might have some academics. They might be really, really good at math and be with their in the general education classroom for math, but their reading might be much more challenged by maybe dyslexia, and they might need to come out to have a very structured program in place to help them catch up and rewire their brain for reading, okay? So Then there is the separate classrooms. Those are self-contained classrooms and therefore are most challenged students that have very complex needs. You're going to hear, and you're talking a lot about school choice. If your student is in a sub-separate program, myself, my assistant director, Christina Shea, we're working very, very closely with your preschool teams to make sure that we place your student in the appropriate program. It's not possible to meet that level of unique needs in every single school. It's much better to take the expertise and put them one place. Next slide will explain it better for you. Okay, so students who have autism, and that is probably our largest category of students who receive sub-separate support, they attend either Brophy, Dunning, King, or Hemingway for next year. I just want to be clear, there is a class at McCarthy right now, a K class at McCarthy right now, but there will be no K class at McCarthy next year. That group will go to first grade and we'll keep them. There was too many students last year at this age group, so we had to open up an extra classroom, so we utilized McCarthy, but we will not be utilizing McCarthy next year. So for autism, it's Brophy, Dunning, King, and Hemingway. And like I said, those decisions are made very, very carefully with the current team that's supporting your students. Also at McCarthy, and primarily at McCarthy, is the LEAP program. Those are students that really can't handle the pace of the general ed classroom. They have a high level of need, but not as intense as the students who are at Barberry. The students at Barberry are students that probably have a wheelchair and need or some type of extra devices. If they don't have that, they might still have a lot of medical needs that nursing needs to be a part of, so they have more nurses at Barberry because of this population, okay? And then Stapleton has the TLC program. However, we never place a kindergartner into the TLC program at the beginning of a school year. The TLC program is for students with an emotional disability. Kindergartners, as we know, can look very different, and we're not very quick to say that a kindergartner has an emotional disability. So we try them in kindergarten, and we do our best to put supports into place. There's currently no kindergartners at Stapleton. There are a couple of families that we're working with. It might be a possibility at this point in the school year because different things have been tried, but just to give you a sense, that's how it works. So those are where students go. I'm not here tonight to give you a whole education on special education. However, what I will say is it's an incredibly unique path for every family. Our goal is to have high expectations for all of your children. Our goal is to work with you so that when you hit those bumps or your child just doesn't make a milestone that's expected, that we help you through that and that we make sure your child gets what they need. And if at any point in time you have a question, do not hesitate to reach out to myself, my assistant director, or we have team chairs in each school, and they're also happy to be there for you, answer your questions. Okay. Thank you very much, and I'm going to turn it back to McKaylee.
Thank you, Mrs. Bruce, for joining us tonight. Let's go over what to expect at your phone registration appointment. If they are, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself again. So at that appointment, you're going to be speaking with the registrar. You're going to submit all the required documents. You're going to learn about our programs. And if there are any other languages spoken at home other than English, then your child is going to be getting an appointment for language proficiency test. That's state mandate. And once everything is done, then we will email you the school choice form for your child. If you do not receive the school choice form for your child, that means that your child's registration is not done. So at any point in time, if you have questions, just give us a call so we can find out what's going on and if why you still haven't received the school choice form. So incoming kindergarten families can select the Spanish or Brazilian Portuguese dual language program. And with that in mind, you can see that the English-Spanish program is located at Barbieri and Brophy, and the English-Brazilian Portuguese is located at Potter Road and Harmony Grove. For Barbieri, the entire school is a dual language school. Brophy, Potter Road, and Harmony Grove, they have a strand, which means that they have 2 classrooms that are dedicated to the dual language program. Okay. For more information about the dual language program, please be sure that at the end of this presentation, please go to the cafeteria, and if you can go to the multilingual education department table and you can ask additional questions, or you may attend the dual language information night, which is going to be happening this Thursday at 6:30 p.m. at the Farley building. Okay. So before I explain the assignment process, I want to go over 2 key terms, and I'm sorry that I'm going to read them out because they are just that important. And again, all this information is available on the kindergarten webpage. Okay. So sibling preference. When we talk about sibling preference, what does that mean, right? So that means that you have an older child that's already in elementary school, that's between kindergarten through grade 4, and that child is going to be at that school next school year. So if you have a child that's currently at Barbieri, your child's in 3rd grade, next year your child's going to be in 4th grade, then you have a sibling preference for Barbieri. That's what we mean by sibling preference. Then the next term that we use often is home district. So what does that mean? Every single address, every single street, avenue that exists in Framingham, there's a home district school designated for that address. So whenever a family doesn't have sibling preference, then the next thing that they have is home district preference. So then if you are looking to have your child go to your home district school, so long as you're looking for your home district school as your first choice after dual language, you're going to have a preference for that school, okay? It's important to know that dual language bilingual education programs do not have home district preference. So they do not have a home district preference. It's all based on one category. In King Elementary Schools, they actually have, if you live within 1 mile of King, you have 2 home districts. So you can choose between King and the original home district preference for that address. If that's the case, when you did your registration or when you're going through your registration, the registrar is going to let you know that you live within 1 mile from King, therefore you have 2 home districts. Which one would you like to choose? Okay, so that's all going to be explained through the phone registration. Okay. Kindergarten assignment process. That's a very complicated process, right? For me, it's not, because we live and breathe this process every single day. And we understand that it's not easy to understand all the details of the kindergarten assignment process. I'm gonna read the information, try to capture the most important points. Please don't forget, any questions, just give us a call. We are here to help you. So, how do we do kindergarten assignment? We first start with dual language programs, okay? So once the deadline for returning the school choice has passed, which is Wednesday, May 13th, we begin the assignment process. We assign students using controlled school choice, with a couple exceptions. Some students require special education program or a program for English language learners that may be available only in certain schools. In those cases, families work with the staff of those programs to determine the best program for their child. For all other students, the assignment process follows these steps. We begin by looking at everybody's first choice. First to be assigned are students requesting the dual language bilingual education program at Barbieri, Brophy, Potter Road, and Harmony Grove. We assign sibling preference first, as sibling preference is considered, all space permitting, okay? If you're requesting a dual language bilingual education program and you have a sibling preference at Brophy, Potter Road, and Harmony Grove, and there are too many sibling requests for the dual language program, we'll do a lottery. If your child doesn't get a seat at the dual language program at Brophy, Potter Road, and Harmony Grove, your child will get assigned to the standard classroom at that building. So your child will be in that building, just not in the program, but your child's going to be on the waiting list. If your child doesn't get a seat in dual language, this is only dual language so far, okay? For Barbarian, sibling preference applies for the dual language program because the entire school is dual language school. So there's no other option, okay? So next, we assign all other first choice dual language program requests, and lastly, all second choice dual language requests. If you choose the dual language bilingual education program and your child is offered a seat, that will be their final placement. Your child doesn't get two placements. Once we get a seat in a program, that's where your child gets assigned, okay? No other choices follow after that. If your child does not get a seat at the dual language program, you can still use your sibling or home district preference after dual language. And any students who are not assigned a seat in dual language and the family requested, they will get a waiting list, okay? So if you don't get a seat at dual language that you wanted, your child's gonna be on a waiting list, okay? And that waiting list, it stays active until the beginning of second grade. So the waiting list for dual language is much longer than the standard waiting list, okay? Now, second to be assigned, after the dual language assignments and second to be assigned are the students whose families who do not want dual language and want to use the sibling preference as their first choice, or the current Pell students that are at McCarthy or Harmony Grove and who want to stay at McCarthy or Harmony Grove and use that as their first choice. Assigned third are students who do not have sibling preference, but the family chose their home district school as their first school choice after dual language. And assigned fourth are the students whose first choice is not a sibling preference or home district school. We realize that control school choice is very confusing, right? So if you have any questions, please, at the end of the presentation, please come see us at the Department Student Registration table. We will go over your specific choice, where you live, do you have sibling? So we'll tailor the information to your child, to your family needs, so the information makes more sense, okay? All right, so it's important to submit all the required documents to make sure that you fill out the school choice by the deadline, which is Wednesday, May 13th. If we do not receive your school choice, your child will not participate in the kindergarten lottery. I guarantee you that that's not gonna come blindly to you, because we call, we email, we text, and we follow up many times. So it's usually when a family doesn't participate at the last step of the process is because they are moving, there's a change in their preferences and they're not continuing with the process. But if you have any questions, always contact us, okay? Better be safe than sorry. So once everything is done, you're gonna receive your child's school assignment notification is gonna come through an email, and that's gonna be sent by Friday, June 5th. It's an email, you're gonna see there's gonna be a link to a welcome packet. Everything's detailed on the email. There's nothing that I'm saying here that's not already written on the email. Please be sure to read that email. 99% of the questions that we receive after we send the kindergarten assignment email are all, the answers are all there in the welcome packet. Questions like, when is the first day of school? When will the kindergarten orientation be for my child on a specific date? What's the program? What's the waiting list? We truly try to think of every single little question that you may have, because we know everybody's busy. You know, maybe 10 o'clock at night on a Friday night, you're thinking about, I wonder what do I have to do to apply for transportation for my child? I guarantee you that information is gonna be in that welcome packet in the email that we sent you. So, and If you think of anything that we have not submitted and shared with you in the welcome packet, we're always looking for ways to improve the process. Sometimes there's something that you're looking to find out that we're not sharing, that to us we didn't think that parent would like to know. Let us know, okay? So we can add that to the next class, the class of 2040. So if you receive your child's kindergarten assignment and then you said, you know what, we're not going to continue the process with Framingham Public School, which is devastating for us because we really want you to stay with us. But life happens. People move, you get a new job. There's so many things that can happen that might make you change your decision of staying in Framingham. Then let us know, because I guarantee you that if you decide that you no longer need that seat for your child, there's a family on a waiting list waiting for that seat, okay? So we don't want you to use the June 12th deadline, but if you do have to let us know that you're not continuing with the process, please let us know, okay? So when you receive the kindergarten assignment, there's going to be some families that are not going to get their first choice. So that means that your child's going to be on a waiting list. So there are two types of waiting lists: the dual language bilingual education waiting list that stays active until the beginning of second grade. Then there's the waiting list for the standard classroom, general education, SEI students, which that waiting list is active until September 30th, 2026. What does that mean? So that means that you we may not have been able to get your child into their first choice school, so your child's on a waiting list. Assuming it's not a dual language program, between the date that you get the assignment, June 5th, and September 30th, it's a good chunk of time, then that means that any family that lets us know that they no longer need that seat, and your child's on a waiting list for that seat, that means we call you, we email you to let you know, we now have a seat for your child. Do you still want to take it? Many parents change their mind because, you know, you're making the decision based upon the information that you have at that moment, and sometimes you might change your mind, and that's okay with that. So that's what it means to be on a waiting list until September 30th. And then for dual language, if you applied for dual language for your child, we were not able to get your child's seat, that waiting list is going to go on for basically 2 years, okay? If we contact you, please respond. We really need to know either yes or no to that question. All right. Kindergarten orientation is going to take place on June 15th. All the details are going to be in that email that I mentioned, the assignment email. Everything that you need to know is going to be there. You know, the time that you're supposed to be at the school, you know, the expectations, it's all going to be there. So please be sure to read the email when we send it. And email is our main way of sharing updates. Please be sure to check your inbox on a daily basis. We really don't want you to miss out on important information. If there's any changes to your email address between now and September, please call our office so we can make the change, not just to the email, also to the phone number, okay? And as we wrap up tonight, I want to leave you with one final thought. We are here to help you to navigate this process. We have covered a lot of information, and I absolutely do not expect you to remember every single detail. That is why my team and I are here to help you through this process. If you wake up at 2 a.m. and you have a question, you know, such as something about the immunization or bus routes, don't panic. It's okay. That's completely normal. In the morning, send us an email, give us a call. We're truly here to help you. Remember, we've been in your shoes. There's no such a thing as a silly question when it comes to your kids. And no, thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation. Staff from the Department of Student Registration, from the school departments, before and after school programs are here at the cafeteria. Also, this 2 teachers from the Ask Kindergarten Teacher are here too. And, you know, please join us at the cafeteria and I'll be here to answer your questions. On behalf of all of us, thank you for joining us in Welcome Class of 2039.